Most men feel that they're not accessing their potential, and if you're one of them, this message is for you. My name's David Schofield, and if you're a man who's seeking change, lend me your ears. Over the next 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you how a simple framework rooted in 4 fundamental and powerful elements has guided hundreds of men to accessing their potential. Furthermore, I'm going to show you how this same process has transformed these men, taking them from feeling lost and unfulfilled to living lives of meaning and purpose. Does that sound good? I hope so. Because in a moment, I'm also going to show you how you can access this framework and start unlocking your true potential without having to go through the process alone. Now, why should you believe me? Well, it's simple. I'm a man living on purpose. I have a business that aligns my skills and interests. I have a loving family and I'm deeply engaged in causes that I believe in, but it hasn't always been this way. 10 years ago, I was at the bottom of a pit with no job, no money, and nowhere to live. Definitely no sense of direction. But I've been able to transform things over the years to a much better situation. I hope to share with you how you can do the same. I now have a proven track record as one of the highest rated men's coaches in the UK, and you don't need to take my word for that. Go and have a look around the website. There are plenty of testimonials for you to see, but I'm going to summarize a few of those for you now. Collectively, my clients have started dozens of businesses. They've got married, moved home, had kids, and they've got into great shape. Like John, for example, who started his own passion business with 7 to 8 figure potential, doing the thing that he loves all day long with the people that he really enjoys spending time with. Or Brett, who discovered his calling to start his own life coaching business. Or Jonathan, who gained the confidence and the courage to say what needed to be said. And Ian, Greg, Dan, Steve, so many others as well. What I'm going to show you in a moment is a unique approach to personal mastery that is going to help you with whatever you're going through right now, just as it did with the men I just mentioned. And if you stay with me through this short presentation, I'm going to show you the exact strategy and tactics I use for myself and with my clients and how we can adapt this framework for your personal circumstances. Look, it's really important to know that you don't have to go through this alone. Many other people have walked the path ahead. So let's quickly assess where you currently are. Does any of this sound like you? Do you feel like you have a lot more potential and capacity that you could be accessing right now? Or perhaps you want to be more fulfilled in your work and relationships. Perhaps you want to be a better role model for others, perhaps your colleagues, your friends, your kids, whoever. And you can see other people managing some or all of this, but you can't quite figure out how to do it yourself. Are you going over all of this, stressing yourself out? And most of all, does it feel like there's some sort of invisible ceiling on your progress? Well, if any of those things sound like you, then I actually have some really good news for you, because none of the things I just listed are the real problem. The real problem is you lack a solid framework that helps you to understand what good outcomes look like in your life and to be able to confidently make good decisions time and time again. And that's exactly what I want to give you right now. So when you have a framework like this, when you encounter a problem in your life, you're able to address it promptly and move forward confidently time and time again. So the one thing I need you to understand right now is that when you have a framework like this, everything works. And when you don't have a framework like this, nothing seems to work. So let's dive in right now and let me walk you through exactly how this works. Now, first of all, let's address what not to do. Now, if you're like most men, there are 3 common errors that you are likely committing one or if not all 3 of at the same time. So the first mistake that many men are making these days is to be living someone else's story of who we are. Now, I see this a lot in men who've had strict upbringings. You see, the story of who we are, and thus the story that we live in our lives, is given to us largely by the culture, by TV, by school, by our parents, by whatever other influences we have in our communities growing up. The problem is that we don't tend to question this in life, and thus we end up living someone else's story about who we really are. The problem with this is, you're a unique individual, so how can somebody else possibly know who you really are? Now, the second mistake that most men are making is to blame other people for the way they feel. Now, as soon as you start to blame other people for your feelings, you're immediately taking away your power or giving away your power to do anything about the situation that you're not enjoying and having a reaction to. You are the only one who is responsible for your feelings. They're your feelings. No one can put them inside of you, right? And the third mistake that most men in our culture are making so severely every single day is to be spending time on things that are totally useless to you. So wasting your energy on porn, on computer games, on junk food, on working too much, on whatever it is you waste your time on, social media, doom scrolling, right? Whatever it is that you waste your time on, you are draining your mental, emotional, and physical energy. And when that is drained, you're less able to construct the life that you're supposed to be living, less purposeful, less meaningful, less fulfilling relationships. It's a nightmare. And the worst thing about this list of activities I've just given you is that many of them are addictive. So the more you do them, the more you get hooked and you want to do them more and more and more, and it becomes a steeper climb to move away from them. So if that's what doesn't work, then what does? So as far as living someone else's story about who you are, well, you have to go down the route of self-discovery. You absolutely have to discover who you are. And you can do this in many different ways, through journaling, self-reflective journaling, through meditation, observing your thoughts and feelings, through pushing yourself to your limits, getting out and taking on challenges and realizing where the boundaries of your current capacity are. So you can look behind you and know that's me, and ahead of me, that's not me yet, right? Self-discovery, incredibly important. And to the second point about blaming other people for your feelings, we can extend that. It's not just about other people. It could be the culture as a whole, your upbringing. It could be ideologies that are influencing the culture. Whatever it is, whoever it is that you are blaming, stop it. It's not helpful. You can recognize a problem externally, but you might not have control over that. You can, however, control how you react or respond to that. Ideally, respond and stop reacting if you can. Take more responsibility for yourself, and then you can decide what to do with that energy and move forward on your own terms. Now to the third point about spending time on useless activities. Now imagine this, if you're spending 3 hours a day on that sort of stuff, one or all of the things I listed before, that adds up to about 100 hours a month, which is 1,000 hours a year, more or less. Imagine if you just spent 1/10 of that time on something more constructive. How much better do you expect your life could be? Now, we all know we should be doing more of the good things and less of the bad things, but often the reason that we don't, and the reason that we just really can't be bothered to, is because we haven't got a clear vision for our lives. Such a big deal. You need a compelling vision for your life that energizes you to get out of bed in the morning, because the benefits of doing so are so great, the downsides of not doing it are so miserable. But for a vision for our lives to be effective, it must be based in something true, something real. And the best way to do that is to look to the past. Time-tested ideas from history and philosophy, those things have been around for a long time for a good reason. They've been passed on generation after generation because people found value in them. And the framework I'm going to teach you is rested on the bedrock of those foundational truths. So let's visualize what a transformation to your life could look like. Now, radically transforming your life and living a life of more meaning and purpose might sound like a far-off dream, right? However, by following this simple framework that I'm going to teach you in a minute, you can treat each experience and interaction as a mini initiation. Now, that word initiation might be a little intimidating to you, but it really is much simpler than it sounds. Rather than seeing life as some series of disconnected, meaningless events, start to see every interaction, every moment as an opportunity for learning and growth. This way, your daily routine, your interactions with others, and even any challenges you encounter become positive opportunities for transformation. So for example, your wife says something you don't like, and usually you would just react emotionally to that and get all cross, right? Instead of doing that, go off into a different room, get some space, don't respond at all. Think about what was going on for her right there, what's going on for you, what's the reality of the situation, and how can you address it constructively, and then go back, return, and do so. There, you've just grown and you've improved your relationship in the process. These moments when you have the choice to do the constructive thing or the not very constructive thing, these are all like mini rites of passage processes that you can engage in every single moment of every single day if you so wish. And if you do so, they guide you toward a more fulfilling and meaningful life over time. The real beauty of this approach is that it takes place in your real life, in real time, all the time. You can always learn, always grow, no more feeling stagnant and lost. So whether you're at work, on holiday, or in the shops, you can take every opportunity for growth and learning. But it takes commitment. So once you have made that commitment to living this grand adventure, which it truly is, then you can start getting on and taking those actions. So this means no more feeling powerless to change your situation. No more being Mr. Nice Guy and just doing what everybody else thinks you should be doing. And no more caving to your addictive tendencies and feeling weak and pathetic as a result. Instead, you're feeling motivated, inspired, and aligned and getting on with your life in the way that you decide. I promise you, how you'll feel when you start to gain momentum is absolutely phenomenal. Now, let's break this down further. Exactly what do you need to do in order to move forward? So you're a man in search of purpose, trying to break free from life's complex mazes, trying to get rid of this confusion, directionlessness, and unsatisfying relationships and work. You're ready for a life-altering journey. guided by the 4 classical elements of earth, water, air, and fire. The coaching process I'll take you through will help you to distill and prioritize the areas of your life so that you can decide confidently where to focus your efforts. For each priority area, you need to identify what the best possible outcome could be for that area, and also the worst possible outcome. So you are very clearly giving yourself a choice. Sometimes we're going to need the carrot, and other times we're going to need the stick. Then once we're clear on the potential outcomes, we need to get really excruciatingly clear on the sorts of habits, routines, behaviors that lead us in either direction. So what things should you do over and over again in order to move toward the best possible outcome? What things should you avoid doing at all because they take you toward the worst possible outcome? And then once you're clear on those things, then we can get moving. But sooner or later, bam, we hit a wall. Something happens, we fall off beam, either we're doing too much or too little of something, something's going wrong. Now, we could either lose motivation entirely and just fall back into the old pit we're in, or through this framework, we create ourselves a backup plan to deal with those situations. It's really important that we're able to get back up quickly and keep moving. That resilience, that anti-fragility, that is what's going to enable us to have sustainable long-term results. Now, it's really important for you to recognize at this point that none of this work that you're going to do is going to be easy. It's not a stroll in the park. There are no such thing really as quick fixes, silver bullets, magic bullets, whatever, right? They don't exist. And anybody who tries to get them end up lost and unsatisfied and with all the problems they had before, but worse because they've spent and wasted a load of time and energy and money, right? This way is much more difficult, but much more effective. So I've said it a few times, but just to reiterate, what I'm inviting you into here is a sort of men's rites of passage initiation process of the sort that has more or less disappeared from our society. Now, I'm not going to go down too much of a rabbit hole here. You can talk to me about this, but we used to have elders in our communities, elders who used to initiate us into being adults. They used to take us through processes where so-called the boy would die and the man would be born so that they could then come into the world in a fulfilling, purposeful way and contribute to the world around them. That's gone. But we can, and part of my work is to facilitate opportunities for that to happen. Now, that's not me saying I'm an elder, but what I'm trying to do is to create environments, to create structures that emulate eldership. So for the time being, we have that to rest on whilst we're learning from history, learning from the ancients in books, and turning ourselves into those respectable members of society. Now, I really feel that the society we live in right now is really not in a good place. Most people, many people, if not most, are complacent and incompetent. They're not fulfilling their potential at all. And as a result, the world is falling down around us. Can you see that? Well, because of that, the opportunities for greatness have never been more abundant. The opportunities now for you to develop yourself and to access your potential and to provide something of meaning and value to the world is phenomenal. And if you don't seek to access your potential in the way that I'm describing, then you will always regret it. I guarantee it. Don't be one of those guys who's lived his whole life as a waste and looks back disappointed. You can do it. I know you can, but it's going to be hard work. Like I said, you're going to have to untangle from unhelpful narratives, challenge faulty assumptions. You're going to have to be very uncomfortable because change and growth is uncomfortable. We're at the edge of what is comfortable in order to grow and learn and move forward, right? That's how it is. This may seem like a lot, but the transformation that comes to your life as a result is worth every penny. I guarantee it. But of course, you could just consider the cost of remaining where you are right now. So imagine this, waking up every single day, excited for the day, knowing that you're going to be spending your time doing things that you love, spending time with people that you love, and that every single moment you are taking steps toward something meaningful and powerful for not just you, but the people around you. That is a man who is no longer just merely existing, but is taking advantage of the abundance of opportunities all around him, crafting a life of meaning and purpose. Now you might be thinking, oh, this all sounds amazing, but really, do I have it in me? Have I really got that in me? And fair enough, these are reasonable questions because it is very challenging what I'm talking about, but that's where I come in. I have many years of experience now in business, in martial arts, as a personal coach, helping hundreds of men to move toward a life of more meaning and purpose. I've honed the tools and strategies to help myself and others to move through this process, going from being lazy, addicted losers, I was, to being passion business owners and loving, inspiring family men. And I'm offering to help you to do the same. There's going to need to be a process of breaking you down, all the crap that's holding you back, getting rid of all that, and then building you back up in an image of your authentic self that you have realized for yourself. The process is unique to you, It's built around your experiences and your potential. However, with expert guidance and your commitment and dedication, you will soon hold the keys to a life shaped by purpose and passion. I assure you, through this transformative process, you will not be alone. I'll be right there to guide, mentor, and support you, along with the other men if you choose to join the community. And when it's all said and done, you will emerge a more fulfilled, inspiring, and engaged man, living a life aligned with his true purpose. But there's a catch, and listen up because this is really important. Now, I'd have 2 very strict requirements for anybody who's seeking to join me on this journey. Number 1 is that you must be in a position of responsibility of some kind. So either you're a husband, father, business owner, leader of a community group, whatever, you're in a position of responsibility of some kind. In other words, there are areas of your life that are challenging and where there is scope for you to grow within, right? There is absolutely no chance that you're going to have a life of purpose and meaning without responsibility. So if that's not you, please exit the page right now. I cannot help you. Number 2 is that you must be willing to invest in your own success. Now, I'm about to give you a powerful roadmap that's going to help you to reach a level of success that you perhaps haven't even dreamed of. But in order to reach that, you really are going to need to put some effort in. Now, part of the plan is going to be for you to invest time and energy into things that are uncomfortable. So you've got to be willing to do that. If you want to craft the life of your dreams, it does take effort. And if you're not willing to do that, then again, I cannot help you. Please exit the page now. I wish you well. But if you are a responsible person and you are serious about getting to a point in your life where you wake excited for the day, spending time with people you love and doing things that are deeply fulfilling to you, and you're willing to invest in what it takes to get you there, then click the button on the page. That'll take you to a very short application. You fill that in and you choose a time from my calendar that works for you for us to meet. We'll do that on Zoom just to make sure that this is the right fit for you. And if it is, we'll take care of the investment to work with me, and then we'll get right to work identifying a vision for your life that you really feel committed to, and then developing a plan to help you to get there. Now, for my clients, clicking that button was a life-changing decision. So let me remind you about John. He was a property developer here in the UK. He transitioned from having a few properties lined up with a comfortable 5-figure salary to being a passion business owner now with 7 to 8-figure earning potential. Or Brett, who discovered his aptitude for bringing people together and helping them move forward in their own lives. Or Jonathan, who discovered his unique voice, which has now taken him to new levels as an executive business director. Now, all 3 of these guys had not really ever been intentional about their own personal development, and they've never really worked with a coach before. And perhaps you, like them, looking ahead at this potential for personal development work, it can seem crazy, the idea of living a life of purpose and meaning, right? I mean, you might be saying, look, David, mate, I just want more money, more sex, more freedom, whatever it is. But the good news is, where you are right now is exactly where John, Jonathan, and Brett were when they first came to work with me. I mean, they weren't at all incompetent people, but they certainly had some room for growth, like we all do, and they didn't know how to move forward effectively. So I helped them to start working with the framework we've discussed and more that we'll go into in the call, and everything started to improve for them. They started to have more passion in their lives, better loved lives, more money earned. They started to feel more meaningful and purposeful day to day. That's why I'm so confident that you can get similar results. But really, the best evidence I have for the effectiveness of this framework is the results in my own life. I went from being one of those lazy, addicted losers to being a passion business owner, being a dedicated husband and father, things that I never thought I would be able to achieve, honestly. And I can showcase similar results with the hundreds of other men that I've worked with as well. You can and will benefit from this similarly, I guarantee it. So I'm really excited to help you to apply this framework to your own life to get similar results. If you're ready to have that conversation, press the button on the page, book that call, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm David Schofield. I look forward to seeing you in that call.